There are some game franchises that feel almost completely impossible to remake. And not because people don't want them back, because the original idea was just so weird, creative, and so tied to its own era that nobody really knows how you modernize it without losing what made it special in the first place. And we think Comix Zero is one of those games. And honestly, that's why the rumors surrounding the possible Comix Zone remake for, years right now feels almost fascinating still today. Even after all the years, there's still nothing else quite like it. A fighter literally trapped inside his own comic book, punching enemies through comic panels, jumping between pages, while speech bubbles exploded across the screen and hand-drawn sound effects followed every attack. It felt less like a normal video game, more like somebody somehow turned an actual comic book into a living world. That idea was pretty genius back in 1995. Today, it could become something unbelievable. Especially now, when Sega has officially confirmed that it is actively reviving multiple classic franchises for modern audiences. Projects involving Golden Axe, Shinobi, Crazy Taxi, and Streets of Rage are already in development as part of the company's major reboot initiative. And once fans saw that happen, one question immediately started spreading online, which was, what about Comix Zone? If there is one forgotten Sega franchise that feels perfectly built for modern reimagining, it's probably this one. You might ask why. Well, especially now. Comic culture is bigger than ever. Superhero movies dominate entertainment, stylized animations exploded in popularity, graphic novel aesthetics have become mainstream. Meanwhile, gaming technology can finally create transitions, animation systems, and visual effects that were impossible when Comix Zone per se was first released on the Sega Genesis. The timing feels perfect now, and honestly, the original game already carried ideas that still feel futuristic today. That's what makes this so interesting. Back in the 90s, Comix Zone already understood visual storytelling in ways most games didn't even attempt yet. Players weren't just moving through levels, they were physically traveling between comic panels while the page itself became part of the gameplay. Enemies ripped through artwork, objects smashed across panel borders, entire pages transformed dynamically during combat, and, well, of course, that style still feels fresh decades later. And to the point, a modern remake could push that concept into something genuinely groundbreaking. Like, imagine a full cinematic transition between comic panels happening seamlessly during a combat, entire environments redrawing themselves in real time while battles just spill across pages. Yeah, that visual identity alone could make the game stand out instantly in today's industry, because modern games become visually impressive, but a lot of games still blur together stylistically. Hyper-realism everywhere, similar interfaces, similar world design. Comix Zone has the opportunity to look completely different from almost everything else in the market. And fans, of course, already know it. Across online communities, people constantly describe Comix Zone as one of Sega's most creative, forgotten franchises and continue asking for either a remake or full reboot. That demand has only gotten louder after Sega started reviving its older IPs publicly again. And interestingly enough, Sega themselves never really abandoned Comix Zone entirely either. In 2022, the company officially announced that both Comix Zone and Space Channel 5 film adaptations had entered active development through Picture Start. And I think that just matters more than people even realize. Companies rarely revisit dormant franchises through just multiple forms of media unless internal interests already exist around the property itself. A movie adaptation alone suggests Sega still sees value in the Comix Zone identity and the game's world itself, and the world deserves expansion. See, underneath the arcade beat-em-up gameplay of this thing, the original game had an incredible setup. Sketch Turner, a comic artist trapped inside his own violent creation while its villain finally rewrites reality around him, still sounds awesome even today. And Remake could turn that promise into something much deeper. We're not gonna go into specific, but whatever kind of visual storytelling they're gonna add could become incredible on modern hardware. And importantly, well, the remake should absolutely preserve the hand-drawn comic aesthetic instead of chasing realism. That's the soul of the franchise. Heavy ink outlines, stylized motion, panels physically framing the action. Every punch, kick, and explosion should feel like it's being illustrated live while the player moves through the story. Because you see, Comix Zone was never about realism, it was about imagination. And modern animation technology could finally realize the comic book fantasy properly now. Dynamic page tearing, interactive sketch bubbles, entire environments forming from unfinished sketches while enemies also crawl directly out of the comic panel into gameplay. That level of creativity could make the game visually unforgettable, especially if the soundtrack, of course, leans into modern rock and industrial music the same way the original game embraced aggressive comic book energy back in the 90s. Now, gameplay-wise, this is where things get sort of interesting because the original Comix Zone was known for two things: creativity and the brutal difficulty. A lot of fans still love the original game, but many also openly admit it became frustratingly punishing at times. Of course, a remake could solve that beautifully. Keep the intensity, keep the challenge, but modernize the combat flow completely. Which we think in any way would preserve the original identity while making gameplay feel modern and fluid. And the world design could become far more expansive as well. The original game, you see, was surprisingly short because of technical limitations and rushed development late in the Genesis lifecycle. Developers themselves later revealed that multiple planned stages were actually cut before release. And well, right now, the full remake could finally restore that lost ambition. Larger chapters, more branching paths, different comic genres colliding together as the story progresses. Like imagine horror-inspired pages suddenly now transforming the gameplay into survival sequences. The comic format naturally allows almost endless creativity without breaking immersion. And that's why this franchise feels so modern now despite being nearly 30 years old. The industry itself feels ready for something this experimental again. Players are hungry for games with identity, games that look different, feel different, and tell stories visually instead of copying whatever trends is just dominating the market nowadays. Comix Zone already had that personality built into its DNA. That's why people still even remember it. Not because it sold millions, but because it felt original. And now with Sega openly rebuilding all the franchises again, fans genuinely believe Comix Zone could finally return as well. That possibility honestly sounds huge. Few games could benefit more from modern hardware and artistic freedom per se than this one. Imagine sketch running across unfinished comic pages while giant monsters just tear through panel borders around them. Cities drawn in ink, watercolor collapsing during fights, villains literally just rewriting the comic itself while the player struggles to survive inside the story falling apart in real time. That kind of imagination could make Comix Zone feel revolutionary now. And honestly, that's why the rumors keep spreading. Because, as I always say, we can already picture it. The charm, the comic pages, the music, whatever else there is to it, and of course somewhere inside all that chaos, one of Sega's strangest and most creative classics finally getting the comeback it probably deserved decades ago.